Let's go Mets. 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 That's all I got to say, honestly. Three words, three letters. Actually, 4 letters. LFGM. Let's fucking go Mets. We don't get deGrom. Okay. Pivot to the next one. Who honestly, I hate to say it, better than Jacob deGrom the last 2 years. Is he better than Jacob deGrom? I think Jacob deGrom is still better when healthy. But Justin Verlander is healthy. And he may not be just as elite as deGrom, but he's still elite. Still at a 1.75 ERA. Still won 18 games for the Houston Astros this season. Still won his 3rd Cy Young this season. Still won an MVP. Still won his 2nd World Series ring. And I get it. Oh, he's the worst starting pitcher in World Series history. Well, at least he's getting to the World Series. Isn't that a good thing? He's facing the best team in the league when he's pitching in the World Series. So does it shock you that when Verlander does have his bad starts, they're against World Series teams? Should that come as a surprise? And even in Game 5 of the World Series against the Philadelphia Phillies, what did Justin Verlander do? 11 strikeouts, only 4 hits allowed across 5 innings. And what did they do? They got the dub. And what happened? The Houston Astros won their 2nd World Series with Justin Verlander on the team. So I don't want to hear Verlander's old, he's 40, he's getting into the age. Yeah, he's up there. But guess what? There has been no one ever like Justin Verlander. There has been no one. The closest one you can compare to Justin Verlander, who's obviously a lot better than Verlander because he pitched till he was 45, 46 years old, is Nolan Ryan. Who was the last pitcher to win a Cy Young at his age? Because he's seriously gotten better at his age. It's not like he's deteriorating. He's not any normal pitcher. You know, I was talking in my group chat with the Mets Way group chat. Shout out to Josh and Jared. They couldn't be here right now, but they're gonna give their takes Wednesday when we have hopefully Pete Hoffman of WFAN, producer of Tiki and Tierney and the Rico Bronya podcast. Shout out to Pete Hoffman. He's gonna be coming on and discussing the Mets on this Wednesday live with me, Josh, and Jared. But we're gonna get into it with him about this Justin Verlander scenario, deGrom leaving, all that. Now we're apparently interested in Andrew Benintendi. Who knows? But Verlander to the Mets, Cohen said, World Series or bust in 3 to 5 years. He wants a World Series roster. If it's not 3 to 5 years, he said it would be disappointing. Well, guess what? Now we have Jake and Max. Last year, Jake and Max, we were calling them Kurt Schilling and Randy Johnson, right? Well, I don't think that's a fair comparison. I think this is a fair comparison because, one, Verlander pitched last year. Scherzer pitched last year. I know Scherzer, he had that one blow up in this against the San Diego Padres, but guess what? It was a playoff team. And 2, about 3 starts before, he threw 6 perfect innings. And every Met fan was like, oh my God, it's Max Scherzer, 6 perfect innings. Oh, he's the best pitcher all time. This contract was so worth it. But 3 starts later, you're ready to write him off? Come on, Mets fans. We got to be smarter than that. And I know he's not deGrom, but Verlander is still a 3-time Cy Young Award winner. He's won an MVP, 2 World Series, and he just dominated the Yankees in the ALCS to get them to the World Series. And like I said, who cares if he sucks in the World Series? At least he's pitching in the World Series. That's it's like, oh, well, LeBron, he lost in the finals a bunch of times. Well, he's getting to the finals. Sorry, he's not perfect like Jordan. He's still getting to the World Series. He still has 2 World Series rings. So he must be doing something right. And guess what? In Game 5, he got the win. All we have to have Justin Verlander do for the Mets is start 50 games within these 2 years, and this contract is worth it. Because I will tell you right now, if Justin Verlander, and I do think Justin Verlander has, I I think a lot of people know this. A lot of people have a feeling that Justin Verlander will make more starts than Jacob deGrom based off of Jacob deGrom's injury history recently and Verlander's injury history recently. Verlander had Tommy John. We've seen pitchers come back from Tommy John. We've seen deGrom. He had Tommy John. We've seen Syndergaard have Tommy John. He came back from it. And then what happened to Syndergaard? Shoulder injuries. Harvey, he came back 2015 from Tommy John. Dominated. Then what happened? Shoulder injuries. Shoulder injuries. The shoulder injuries is really more of a problem than a Tommy John. Pitchers can come back from Tommy Johns. We just saw Verlander come back from a Tommy John in a perfect way. He came back from it. Oh, everyone's so like, oh, well, how is he going to react from coming off Tommy John 2 seasons ago? Well, I don't know. Well, this year he just won a Cy Young. So it looks to me like he's going pretty good so far off of his Tommy John recovery. I mean, the guy had a 1.75 ERA. How are we? Does he make this? I think the one question I want to ask Mets fans that are upset about this Justin Verlander signing is, does Justin Verlander make the New York Mets a better team? And the clear, simple answer is yes, without a doubt. The guy won 18 games and had a 1.75 ERA in 2022. If you put Justin Verlander on this Mets team in 2022 instead of Jacob deGrom, guess what? That's 13 more wins from Verlander than deGrom, because deGrom only contributed 5 wins to the 2022 Mets that won 101 games. So deGrom wasn't that important to the Mets. And I know as a fan, I even hate to say that, but it's true. And now that deGrom is not a Met, the deGrom fandom in me realizes that deGrom getting 6 years from the Texas Rangers for $222 million is just the stupidest move any organization could make. The guy has not pitched over 100 innings since 2019. That's about to be 4 years ago. The guy's pitched less than 100 innings. He only pitched 60 innings this year, and he had over a 3 ERA. And you're going to give him 6 years? I mean, if you're really mad at the Mets for not offering deGrom a contract, I mean, can you blame them? The guy's 34 years old. You're banking on a guy who's made he's made 16 starts in 2020, 15 starts in 2021, 11 in 2022. You're telling me you want to bank on that guy for 6 years? 6 years? Hell no. I'd rather give more money for 2 years than a guy who just pitched coming off an injury and just pitched to win a Cy Young, and he helped his team win a World Series. And I don't want to hear that he didn't help his team, because guess what? They wouldn't be in the World Series without him. And Game 5, he got them the dub. So Justin Verlander going to the New York Mets makes the New York Mets a better team in 2023. And that's just a fact, because now we're talking a rotation of Verlander, Scherzer. We got Carlos Carrasco, who's a Cy Young against the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox. And then we have David Peterson and we have Tyler McGill. So go get one more guy, make it a 6-man rotation. It'll help those guys, because realistically, do we want them starting 30 starts? No, I'll admit it. I don't want those 40-year-olds starting 30 starts. Hell no. Save them. Save them for the playoffs. Let them pitch 5-6 innings. If we have a 3-run lead, 4-run lead, take them out. Who cares if they're at 76 pitches? Take them out. Let them get the rest. You know what? Who cares? And guess what? I get it. It's a lot of money. But at the same time, I've been saying this for a long time. The Mets don't need to follow other teams' blueprints. The Dodgers, they have their own blueprint. The Braves, they have their own blueprint. The Astros, they have their own blueprint. The Mets need to have their own blueprint. They have Steve Cohen, their owner, is not like any other owner in baseball. When you have an owner like him who's willing to spend like that, then you can go and spend money like that. Everybody who wants to build a team like it's the Moneyball, like the Oakland A's, and go watch it on Netflix. If you want Moneyball, just go watch the movie. It's not real life. You know what happened in Moneyball? They lost. They didn't win a championship. And they still haven't. Moneyball doesn't work. The reason they played Moneyball is because Billy Beane his owner didn't allow him to spend money. Billy Beane didn't want to do Moneyball. He knew that Giambi was worth the money, but his owner didn't think he was worth the money. So he had to fix it. He had to go around it. That's what other teams can do because they don't have an owner like Steve Cohen. And if they're good at it, then good for them. But the Mets have to follow their own path. And if their own path is giving guys loads of money for short-term contracts, while we have guys like Alonso, Lindor, McNeil, Edwin Diaz in the prime of their careers, then yeah, go get Verlander and go get Scherzer to be the studs at the top of the rotation. And then we'll fill the roster with other needs. Because I'll tell you what, this Mets team is star-studded. 2023, full-on World Series or bust, with or without Verlander. But now that it's with Verlander, you got to go more all-in. $300 million payroll, exceed it. Because if you don't win a World Series with Verlander or Scherzer on the roster, then I'll admit it. Probably wasn't worth the contract. Even if Verlander does make the 50 starts. You sign these guys not to make starts and sell out crowds. You sign these guys to win championships. Get to the postseason and win us a goddamn ring. The Mets are now, they were World Series or bust, but now there's no question. When you have 6 Cy Youngs combined at the top of your rotation, you are World Series or bust. Trey Turner's on the Phillies. I wanted him. 11 years, good for him. Phillies are stacked. We got the pitching, they got the hitting. I can't wait for those matchups. Phillies Mets is going to be freaking awesome. Awesome. But like I said, they're following their blueprint. And look, they won a National League Championship Series. And what did they do? They said, fuck it, we'll spend money. My one curse word this show. I have no more now. Sorry. But overall, the Mets are now in a better position than they were yesterday to win a World Series with Justin Verlander on the roster. And that's a fact. I don't care about the money. It's not my money. It's not your money. You shouldn't care. I shouldn't care. If anything, Justin Verlander's a Met. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it other than be pumped and root for the Mets. And Justin Verlander is a Met, so I'm rooting for Justin Verlander. I'm pumped. That's our guy now. Justin Verlander is our guy. He's our guy. Say it proud. We have the best pitcher in baseball from last season on the Mets. And there are some Mets fans who are still upset, which is insane to me, but it's okay. I get it. It's a lot of money. He's old, but only time will tell. And time will tell. I really think, one, I think Verlander's going to make more starts than Scherzer. And 2, he's going to make 10 times more starts than deGrom. That's a fact. Listen, I'm anti-deGrom now, even though I have his autograph right there. I love him. I loved what he did with the Mets, but he didn't want to be here. And that's another reason why I love this signing, is because I get it. Obviously, he wanted the money, but Justin wants to be here. We've heard it both times now, when Scherzer signed with the Mets and now when Verlander signed with the Mets. Who did they meet with? Cohen. And what did they express to him? We want to freaking win. And when you have 2 guys like that now in the dugout, is it a coincidence, too, that when Max Scherzer comes to the Mets, they win 10 times more? Because we saw it when he was out with the injuries, the Mets were struggling. His dugout presence alone helps the Mets. Now we're adding in another world-class, first-ballot Hall of Famer, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, MVP, 2-time World Series champion, and Justin Verlander. Him alone, just in the dugout, talking to these guys. Help. David Peterson is in a perfect position where he can now learn, because deGrom, apparently he wanted to stay away from the Mets. He didn't want to talk to the Mets, involve himself with the team. Go read the ESPN article if you don't believe me. deGrom did not want to be in New York. He did not want to be part of this team. Scherzer, on the other hand, you look at him in the dugout. Who's he talking to all the time? The young guys. He's always talking with Buck. He's always trying to learn. He's always trying to learn something, and he's always trying to teach something and help some younger players. And Peterson is now in a perfect position. And David Peterson is one of my favorite pitchers. first-round draft pick, lefty, and every start he's had, well, not every start he's had, but most of the times he starts, he does well. He does well. And now he's in a position where he can learn. Even Tyler McGill, these guys are now going to be learning from the two greatest pitchers, not the two greatest pitchers, but two of the greatest pitchers of all time. Definitely two of the greatest pitchers of this generation. Because deGrom, I don't think he was willing to teach the younger guys. Because when spring training comes, I find a hard time not seeing Verlander and Scherzer taking time out of their day to go out there and help a guy like David Peterson out, to help a guy like Tyler McGill, or hell, even Jose Butto. Why not? They're going to help the younger guys. This is how you change an organization. 2 years ago, we were the laughingstock of the MLB. We had Brody Van Wagen. 2.5 years ago, we had Brody Van Wagen. We were all pumped up about the reliever we got from the Yankees. I can't even think of his name off the top of my head right now because I'm just so I'm ecstatic right now. I'm pumped about this Justin Verlander signing because I'm doing this for like 5 more minutes tops. But Justin Verlander just makes the New York Mets a better team, and that's all it is. The New York Mets are a better team with Justin Verlander on the roster. They got better than they did a couple hours ago. The New York Mets are a better team, and they're now World Series or bust. But now, I said it a few days ago, the dominoes are going to start falling. This was the first one to fall. Now that deGrom's gone, now the Mets, now they have their plan. They can execute that plan. This was step one. Now that you got Verlander, okay, I wanted Turner. I wanted him more than anybody, but now you can't go get Turner because he's with the Phillies. But now that Turner's with the Phillies, that's another team in your division that strengthened their lineup. Our lineup has not been strengthened yet, and I do not want to see Vogel back as our freaking DH. I do not want to see Darren Ruff as our DH or an internal decision. No, go get a guy. We got Scherzer, we got Verlander, we got Diaz. I can't believe I just said we got Verlander, man. We got freaking Justin Verlander is a New York Met. Kate Upton in Citi Field, man. Now my girlfriend is going to be pumped to come to games now. Just because I'm going to be like, yo, Kate Upton's at the game. You want to go to a Mets game? Hell yeah, I want to go to a Mets game. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be like the answer, but I don't think she's going to be that excited when I ask her to go. But just everything about Justin Verlander signing with the Mets is fun. It's fun baseball. We are now competing with the very best teams. We are going to compete with the Phillies versus the Mets. Star pitching, star hitting. Let's go. I'm all in. Let's go Mets. Let's go get Brandon Nimmo now. If not, screw it. Let's go get Benintendi, stealing from the Yankees. Why not? I mean, the guy hit 304 and he's only 28 years old. They're reportedly interested, according to Joel Sherman. So why not go get Andrew Benintendi? I like the idea. We're World Series or bust. Let's continue adding to this 2023 roster because you know what? I keep saying it. World Series or bust. New York Mets 2023. Justin Verlander is a freaking Met. Let's fucking go Mets. Deuces.